I'm back. The kids were using all the Wi-Fi. I think Susie's watching Netflix, and Rosie was doing a face-to-face thing on her phone, and Charlie was on Wi-Fi as well. So hopefully we can. Hello, how are you? Hopefully we can get some people back. We had 66. Normally we get after these unannounced sort of feeds. We normally get 100, bit over that. Yes, Fraser, good to see you again. Hopefully it doesn't freeze this time. I was just saying I kicked the kids off. They were on the they were using up all the bandwidth on the Wi-Fi and they kicked me off. My fault. I didn't tell them I was doing this. So it is what it is. I'm going to change these up and see what I do. Right. I can't remember where we were. But anyway, look, I had something to eat and got myself a cup of tea. So is it better? I'm still here, Pete. Hello, Rach. Oh, are ya? Good on you. Hi, Phil. How are you? So we're up to 17, so that's good. I've only been here a minute, so we're good. Hopefully it doesn't muck around and it stays relatively clear because, yeah, the kids are pissed because I kicked them off. But the old modem, they've got this like NBN thing, and the old one you could just press Wi-Fi and it knocked everyone off, and I used to do that. But this one I don't know how to do it. It's the NBN, it's a new one. So I can't remember what I was up to. I was telling a story about something. I don't know. But anyway, this is hopefully it doesn't falter. Just let me know the moment you see something. Hello, Michael. How are you? If you see anything that looks a bit dodgy in terms of quality or freezing up and that sort of stuff, just let me know. So I'm just waiting for my tea to brew. What else is there to say? Yeah, I'm just in a great mood because work's finished for 2 weeks. Hey, hello, Andrew. Yes, I'm back. We'll see what this yields if it buggers up again. It should be okay with any luck. What can we talk about? All right, then channels that I've been watching. All the usual ones. I go in and out of different channels. Some of them I get sort of fed up with. You watch them and you watch them and you think, it's not for me. I used to watch lots of YouTube people from the New England area of the United States, up sort of around Maine, areas like that. And I none of those guys are sort of doing anything that I find terribly interesting to watch. Although the guy, what's his name? Dizzy, 1969. He does this feed similar to this, but he has, I don't know how to do it. There's boxes. There's about 5 guys. Hello, Doug. How are you? Oh, Dallas, sorry. Fremantle. Oh, good. Good. Okay, welcome back. Thanks, Bruce. This guy, and I've seen a few people doing it, and there'll be 4 boxes or however many people involved with it, and they're all sitting there on this group feed. And I reckon that'd be fantastic fun to do. And it's better for them than it is for the viewer because they're just talking about, I mean, some of it's in jokes and stuff like that. One guy, an English guy, went down. He visited Dizzy. What's his name? Hazy Days. And he visited Dizzy, and they've got this whole thing going, and they do it every week. And it's not great to watch because I don't know what they're involved with, their channels and that sort of stuff. But I have, hi Wes, I have, and Hayden, how are you? I have looked at it and thought I'd actually like to do that with some of my YouTube friends. I've only got a couple because I don't normally get involved with that many people on YouTube. I just use it as a thing I do in the garage. So I don't spend an awful lot of time communicating with other people over this medium anyway. So we've got some of the people back. We've got 28 and we're 4 minutes in, so that's cool. So if anyone wants to fire a question, go ahead because there's not much going on. Got to find some bearings. The black bearings, the Honda people always go on about black bearings being the ideal replacement for your big engine mains when you're cranking and everything is in good condition. You can just put the black ones in. They normally clearance precisely the way they're supposed to within spec and that sort of stuff. But they don't make the black ones for the 350 engines. I got black ones for the big ends on it. I fitted those, but I need the crank ones, the main bearings for the crankshaft. And once I've got those, I can put that whole bottom end together, and then it's just a matter of getting the cylinders bored, doing a little bit of head work, which I can do here. Although I do have a bent valve, but doesn't matter. And we should be good. A guy texted me, because I got this old engine from South Australia, and a guy texted me to say he's got a frame there and other bits and pieces, so I can make up some sort of cafe type, you know, muck around bike sort of thing. And I wouldn't do a restoration. That'd just be parts I've got, and I'll bang it together and make some sort of beater out of it. But it should be good. It should be good. I'm sort of looking forward to doing something like that, because I'm at the stage now with the cars. The Plymouth's going to be about 10 grand to finish, because that's all interior, and the XC, I think there's about 3 grand left on it. Maybe even a tiny bit more, 4 grand, and that's all big stuff: exhaust, tail shaft, headlight resilvering. That's expensive. There's all the rear bumper chroming. I haven't even got a front bumper for it. The front bumper I got with the car was for a ZH Fairlane. So I've got a heap of expensive parts, the exhaust on the 750, and I've got to get some side covers and a seat and that sort of stuff. So there's quite a bit that's expensive to do, but there's not much I can do about it. I've just got to wade through it. So is this still fluent? Is this still working? Let's have a look. I'll find a question. We'll just see. Let's see what yields. Holidays, got a couple of things planned. As I said in the, it's jerky again, is it? Maybe it's my bloody internet connection. Got a few things planned for the holiday, and but I won't be bringing out. Normally on the holidays, I can sort of get 4 videos out or whatever, where I can just sort of concentrate if we don't go away. Sometimes we do. We used to do a lot of day trips with the kids and that sort of stuff, but they're all grown up now. So I've got a few things that I need to do, and it'll make sense when at the end of the holidays, if you know what I mean. I've got something sort of planned. Good to see you. Love your channel. Haven't seen a video of yours yet that I haven't enjoyed. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Charles. That's really kind to say. 2 Litre Peter. Go Pete. How are you going, 2 Litre Peter? And we're a little bit laggy, apparently, according to Andrew. But there's not much we can do. We'll just suck it and see, I guess. So, yeah. Don't know what I'm going to do at the end, because once I finish the XC, and a lot of the Plymouth stuff is subletting out, if you know what I mean, for interior and stuff. So I'm hoping Jason's still good for doing that. But I'm not sure what to do in terms of post all this stuff that I'm doing now. So I have to think about that, and I might have to change direction a bit, or find some suitable storage. Car storage in Melbourne is prohibitively expensive. Everything in Melbourne's expensive. It's ridiculous. So unless I can find something which is going to be worthwhile, then, you know, I was thinking of doing small jobs. Small jobs seem to be better for people to watch, and that's why the compilation videos of all the Bang of the Beauty stuff is, because it's all started and finished in one episode or one video, which is what they do on television. They don't drag on and on and on. Thanks, Sam. That's very nice of you to say. They don't drag on and on like I have been, particularly with cars like the XC. Sigma was quick. That was 6 or 7 months. That was very quick. But in some ways, I knew when I was painting the rear quarter it was going to give trouble, because I just couldn't get the paint down on it properly. And now, of course, it's got some blisters in it, so it's all got to come off. But I wanted to get that finished to a point where it was presentable, so I could upload some videos and get it out of the way before the weather packed up for winter. And I managed to do it, but it's not. If I'd taken my time and done it a bit more carefully in taking paint off and all that sort of stuff, would have been better to do. Just saying, glad to see you back, Peter. Thank you very much. I've been subscribed for a long time now. Keep up the good work. We'll be buying my XE with your videos as well. Thanks very much. Haven't done the XD. Haven't done any work on it yet. I do have to, with the XD is concerned, I've got a PWR transmission cooler, because I don't like the inline coolers that they use. I've seen them where they rupture, the transmission cooler and the radiator's ruptured and filled the training up with coolant, and of course it's all over, it's game over there. And so generally, with the cars I've restored, I've actually taken the radiator cooler out of the equation and used a big transmission cooler instead. So I bought one for the XD about 12 months ago, but haven't got around to putting it in. The XD's engine does have to come out because I want to change the steel brake lines, and it smokes when you start it in that the valve stem seals are gone. I don't have to take the engine out for that, but I thought while I had it out, I'll replace the brake booster and master, or recondition the booster and replace the master, and just see how we go. Yeah, but I was planning originally to do a changeover engine and just do it over one weekend. Bloody petrol is expensive in Box Hill, $1.71 a litre. There's the American conflict, or the Trump conflict with the Middle East is the reason for that, and they're tipping it's going to get to $2 a litre, which is another reason I enjoy driving that little Starley around, because when you drive a car like that, you just don't care what the price of petrol is. You just put some in and you keep going. But for the V8 cars, pardon me, the V8 cars, I've got 5 V8 cars here, and they're thirsty. Because I like to take advantage of the torque and take off briskly and all that sort of stuff. I discovered your excellent channel a few weeks ago. Sorry if I missed this, but are you going to continue with the XC build soon? Pardon me. Yeah, I've got the boot lid off now. I was supposed to have the boot lid painted. I think originally I thought I'd have it done by April, and because I got the Sigma as a brake for that car, I took a bit longer and didn't get it done. I got all the doors done, and they were bastards today. They were horrible. The XC has an outstanding body, and the bonnet's like new old stock, and the boot lid's very good too. It's in the rear quarters, everything's peachy on it, but the doors weren't that great, and so I had to rebuild a lot of them. And so I've got the boot lid on the XC in etch. I put in deoxidine first, cleaned it all up, got rid of all the old remnants of paint strip and that sort of stuff. So I'm ready. I've got to do some filling on it and blocking back because it's not perfectly straight. And I hope I can get it perfectly straight. But I've just got to play it by ear. But I'll definitely have that done on the car sooner than later. And then it's just down to the front guards. And one of the front guards is perfect. They're both perfect as far as rust is concerned. They're brilliant front guards. They're the original ones that run the car. It was a country car. So I'll have one of them done pretty quickly. But the other one I mentioned in the other video, I don't know if it was included because it did jam up and quit. There's a big dent, a shallow dent right on the crown of it. And there's a ridge, and you've got to get that light right. You've got to get the line right because all the light will reflect badly if you don't. So I'm a little bit worried about getting that done. Once I'm over that hurdle, and the rest of it's just painting it and putting it back together. And I've done that car the wrong way. You paint a car all at once, and I just couldn't with that car because of the space constraint, and also the work was sort of pissing me off a bit and all that sort of stuff. So this Floyd final interview, 1 thumb down. Who is this weirdo? That will be a kid from school. And I think I know who he is because he's been trolling me for a while. So maybe go and get a book and read a book or something and leave me alone. $1.40 for 91, $1.65 for 98. I normally use 95. Not sure if you saw it before the freeze. I absolutely love your channel. Thanks so much for all of your effort. I confidently rebuilt my 750 F2 carbs with your help. Very appreciative. Thank you very much. They were horrible to do. They've got little accelerator pumps and all sorts of stuff. That is an F2, isn't it? Hang on, what does it say? Yeah, 78 F2. Yeah, they would have the same carburetor, I would think. So, yeah. Yeah, so the XC is coming along. I can do all the doors, putting the interior doors all back together. I've got to get some plastic and fitting kits, but that's negligible. That's easy to do. I've got to prepare and paint the armrest and put all the switches in. That rims, redo those, put them in. The interior stuff on it, the only expensive bit's a console lid. They're $200 odd or something. I've got to get one of those. I can't avoid that. But that will all get finished off, and the steering wheel I want to get leather wrapped with a really fine leather. I know you can do that, and because Liam in Queensland, he's a school teacher as well. He had he donated a steering wheel hub or sensor for the XC, and they're incredibly hard to get in good condition. He got me a Perla, which matches the car beautifully, but it makes the original steering wheel look a little bit, it's not as nice. So in order to get that done properly, I means getting that steering wheel wrapped. And the rest of it's, you know, bumpers and stuff, that's the expensive stuff. But there's a lot I can do on the XC, which I've got everything here to do. All the paint products and everything, I've got that here. I've already bought all that. And yeah, so headlights are going to be dear, but that's probably about it. Given the price of petrol, it might be time for an EV conversion. I'm not opposed to that. I don't want to do an EV conversion because there's a heck of a lot of voltage and current, and I'm not clued up with it. I would have to really research it before I talk anything like that on. But that's the advantage of that little Starling. It's a 1300cc and it just doesn't use fuel. And it's perfect. I live in a built-up suburban area, and after-school traffic and Saturday morning traffic and so forth around the shops is impossible. You can't get around. And so that's the reason I use that car. Best fuel for use in Cleveland, don't put 91 in. I hate it. I run mine on 95, and that's fine. You're probably best to put 98, but they suck petrol, so I'm just going to stay with 95 on mine. Exactly the same carbs as your K model. Next step is completely rebuild the engine. I'll be rewatching all your videos too. Watch Hacker Week for that too, because he explains it really well. He's done, I think his was a K3 or something like that. Same engine. That's the carburetors that are different, but yeah. So Hacker Week's a great one too. He actually explains things a bit better than I did, I think. But he got everything in his bike. You didn't see him disassemble it. His was an unfinished project, so everything was in boxes, and some of it he had to rebuild. The only thing he did on that, which I didn't like, was he didn't get. He was like me in that he thought they were stretch seal bolts on the con rods, and that apparently, and I've spoken to 3 good single overhead cam Honda builders, and they all say no, that's only the twin cams, not the singles. You can reuse them on a single. I replaced mine for F-type ones, which are stronger, just because I wasn't sure. But Hacker Week ended up changing the rods for these aluminium, they look like little mini Carrillo rods, and he did that and notched the bottom of the barrels for clearance because they're a broader rod. But having said that, he did a great job with it. That's just something I wouldn't have done. But Hacker Week's great, really good. And his videos have got like hundreds of thousands of views. It's a bit of a benchmark the way he's done that. It's turned out really, really well. eBay's ripping us off on postal fees from the USA. Postage from USA is nuts. And yes, it is eBay doing it. If you buy carburetor kits or something, you'll have a flat postage fee of something like $70 or $50 or something like that, which you know isn't good. You know it's not accurate. That's the reason why I use David Silver spares for the parts on the 350. And I ended up getting them through David Silver in England because the postage was, I think, for everything I got, and I got chains and all sorts, it was quite a heavy package. And I think that was about £30 or something. It's still $60, but the American ones are just ridiculously dear, and that was quite heavy stuff too. Speaking of Melbourne being expensive, Westfield Knox put up the rent quite a bit, and a lot of retailers have jumped ship. Well, Harbour Norman being one of the casualties. Places has too many nail salons, etc. Yeah, they seem to come up everywhere. $2 shops and nail salons. So, interested in doing a fuel injection swap on a Carby engine? Yes, I was thinking of Firetech on the XC originally. Their thermoquads are good, but every thermoquad I've had, they start cold and they work well, and when they're warmed up they work well, but starting them hot after you've been parked for half an hour or so, always giving it quite a bit of turning over to get the things going. And I've noticed that with thermoquads. Quaddies don't do it, Hollies don't do it, because thermoquads seem to, unless I'm doing something wrong, they all seem to do it, and I've had about half a dozen of them. Yeah, it's a raw, that's right. Rachel just said, I've seen postage for a Deco once, it was over $100 US, and it is a raw. I don't know how it works. I think people just do a flat postage fee, regardless of the item. People that are selling bits and pieces, and it covers everything for them and makes them more money, but it is raw. That's the only way to put it. But what do you do? I did buy a Sansui receiver, a great big heavy one. I'm looking at it now. I was going to start doing some hi-fi videos, but then when you got people like TechMate around, there's not much point in doing it. But I did do one, and I bought this Sansui receiver, XUS, and it's huge, and I managed to get that quite cheap in terms of postage. I think all up, it was probably over $100. It was probably $140, I think, in postage. And the machine was like, I think all up it was like $400 to get it here. So there's not much you can do. You got to pay it. Or the other thing you can do is if they've got a store that's not online, if you look at their name on the web browser, you can quite often go through their website and it's cheaper than eBay. I avoid eBay now. I use Gumtree as much as I can. Hard question, but what is your favorite car? Whether it be because of reliability or one of the best memories. If it's a favorite car that I've got, it'll be the XD. And it's an 80s dagging looking car, but just because I've got all the family memories. And I remember the day we got it, I was in year 7, which is Form 1 in 1979. And Mum and Dad originally ordered it, or Dad ordered a Ghost Gum Fairmont with 4-wheel disc brakes for towing the float. And it was, I don't know how much it was over $8,000. And they bumped the price up. Like he paid the deposit and he was waiting for it to be built, and they bumped the price up and he said, shove it. And then one we've got, the brown one, was the service manager's car, and it had 4,000 Ks on the clock, and they paid $7,700 for it. And when it rocked up, it was brand new and dark and shiny and all this sort of stuff. And when it rocked up in the car park at Yarra Valley, everyone looked at it like it just looked space age. And I was just a little kid, and I've still got that car now. So that would be my favourite. But if I was rich and I was going to buy my favourite cars are always cars I can relate to from my childhood or adulthood. If I see them, I like them. I've always had a thing for Galaxies, and I sold one, which is dumb. But my favourite little beat is the Starlet. For just, I can guarantee I'll get a car park no matter where I go. It's just a fantastic little car, and it's got this happy little engine that just doesn't use fuel. It's a cracker. But yeah, that is a hard question. When I used to import a lot of stuff from the US, I found DHL was much cheaper and quicker than the US Postal Service. Wouldn't surprise me. USPS is expensive too. Evening, Ando. Enjoying that cuppa. I am. And I've still got the tea bag in, so if John Lawton sees this, he'll have a go at me, because he always says, get the tea bag out. Jesus, for a sticky, you just put that in an envelope. Yeah, $1. That's about all it cost. Thanks, Huge. Is it Huge? I've seen your name a million times. I never had it pronounced, but you know who you are. Thanks very much. XT, GT. If I was going to buy a GT, I reckon I'd buy an XA. That's the one I'd buy, I reckon. Yorkshire tea is awesome. Thanks for converting me to it. One of my supporters came round with a friend of mine, Craig Travis. I've known Craig since I was in year 7 as well. And he has a friend that watches this stuff. And he came around and he got this stuff, this Yorkshire tea, that stuff there. And I thought, here we go. And not here we go, that sounds rude, but I thought, thanks very much. But, you know, I would have preferred Lipton. I used to just drink Lipton Black. So I opened it and poured everyone. There was like 5 people who poured all the tea and drank this and just thought, I'm converted. This is so much better than the other stuff. It's great stuff. And it's cheap. And this is another thing with eBay. Listen to this. This stuff on eBay, $35 free postage in Coles at Eastland, 5 minutes away. That's $4 or $5 for a box. Go figure. Thanks for the videos. Thank you, George. Love your channel. Thanks very much. G'day, Peter. Kerry here from Auckland. Love your videos, mate. Keep them up. Thank you so much, Kerry. It's so nice when people say stuff like that. And it's nice because it takes the pressure off either cars or bikes, because I do a bit of both. And I like it like that. I like the variety because I can get annoyed with something and then go and do something else and not have to worry about it. And that's what Scott was saying before. He said the same thing. So, got to order some more parts. But the boot lid on the XC is probably the first thing I'll do. Just because that stuff's so big, like the 2 guards are in the shed and they take up so much room. And the bodywork's something I really don't like doing. So I've got to get that out of the way, and of course I'll be relieved when that happens. Anyone got any recommendations for other channels? There's Pete from Queensland doing the Monaro. Thanks for all the time you spend making contact. You're most welcome. And I made pocket money out of this, but now I've got to pay $4,000. You know what they did? I pay tax on everything I make, whether it be Patreon or Google AdSense, which is the ads that run on these things. And this year I was up for $1,500, so I can just pay that off. That's easy. But now they want me to pay for next year as well, which is $4,000. And I just thought, what? And now I've got to pay the tax department $5,000, and that's $5,000 would finish the XC and the bike. You know, that blows. Other channels I've been watching, yeah, Pistol 85. It's a Pistol 85. He's doing Monaros. That's an interesting channel. Any other Aussie channels? Just trying to think of one. King of Toe. I like a channel. There's a good channel called King of Toe. I don't know King of Toe. I've never seen it. Cobble Motors, yeah. That would be my favourite one. How do you come up with the colour schemes in your projects? Or they're just restored to factory? No, I do them the colours I want. The Sigma was originally that colour. The XW was originally browny colour. And I wanted white. And the XC was originally, what's it called? Sweet cream, which is this yellowy beige colour. And I did that the same as the XW just because I like that and it always looks fresh. White's easy. And the other thing is because I painted over a length of time. You can't see that I've painted one thing a year after the other because the colour matches perfectly. Skid Factory, Cobbles out of Canada, yep. How do you cut, what do we got? Skid Factory? I've never watched that either. A lot of people will say Roadkill as well. I've never even watched that. I watched one Roadkill. No, I have seen Roadkill. Damn tax department and politicians. Yeah, I know. It just pisses me off. And you know what? I don't think Apple, big multinational, even pays tax here. So, I don't know. Try King of Toe, Pete. You get a giggle. What about try Blue XD? The XD is one that I will leave its original colour. I repainted the XD 10 years ago, and I've got to recut it. I think it's a bit dull. What's Sick Puppy 4x4? You'll get a laugh out of just the boys having fun. That sounds good. I didn't even know about that. And also Soup, the Soup channel. I can't remember what it's called. They did the Range Rover I was talking about before, and that was really interesting. And as I said, I don't know if anyone was here when I was talking about it. They, hi Jason, how are you? They got a, it was all time-lapse photography. It would have taken the guy hours, days to do the video. And it paid off because it's probably got 1 million views by now, I don't know. But he was doing time-lapse photography. So when he was doing his welding, the weld just appeared. I was like, how'd you do that? I don't know how he did. But it looks really, really good. It's well worth doing stuff like that if you've got the time for it. But I'd try and do a full-time job and be a dad at the same time. I just steal time here and there and just bang the whole thing together. Oh, that's all right, Peter. Thanks very much for coming. So there's a lot of the one I also watched one. True Blue, as in Dickie J. Yeah, Dick Johnson. Jason, you're Jason. All right, now let me talk about you. Are you the guy that's done the XF that looks like an XE? Is that you? I can't remember. One guy's doing up a, thank you very much. One guy, I don't know if it's you or not, got himself an XF and he's making it look like an XE. So he's put the XE treatment on the front and the back. And the last thing I saw, there was a discrepancy in the dash, the center pinnacle part of the dash, which is difficult because the XE one will be the same as my XD in that it slopes forward where the XF one comes up straight. I think that's the one. Yes, it is. Watching Roadkill, don't worry, it's the waning days of the jack shit straight. Now they try to resurrect. Got to get ready for work. Yes, George, you better go. 3:30 a.m. Yeah, right. The other thing was Mighty Carmines. I used to love Mighty Carmines when they were working in Marty's garage, his mum's garage, and it changed and it's much more. They do a lot of traveling to Japan and they do a lot of stuff on tracks and stuff like this, and it's become huge. I like the garage stuff. I like the guys in their garages, and I think despite their success, which is to be celebrated, that stuff in a garage, sort of mocking stuff up, is what most of us do. And I think that's what I know I connect with the best. I find that much more enjoyable to watch than someone with a, and I mean, I've got a reasonable budget, but some of these guys, I don't know how they're doing it. What's the ETA on the XC? Well, the XC will be finished in September 2017. It was supposed to be 2 years after I bought it in August or something in 2015, but it's a good runner. When will that be finished? I wanted to try and get it finished this year, but with my tax bill, I doubt it again. But I really want it finished early next year. It's just gone on too long, and it's become boring. And everything was wrong with it. Every bit's been replaced. If I ever sell that car, which I don't think I will because it's just got too much in it, it will be a brand new car, like almost every component in it, because it was just a show when I got it. And I think the victory on that one, driving that one, will be sweeter than all the others because it's been so much work, you know. The XC will be, that'll be the nicest one I've got, I reckon. Just the color combination on it's unusual. It's the white, the cream with the green interior. I love that color scheme. Do you like watching videos of things being restored on here? Yeah, I do. Yeah, there's a lot of people, and it is relaxing. There's a guy, a French guy, that does toy cars and desk fans and Tizy Tube or something it's called, and he's got a hell of a following. A lot of people, and the other guy that does that now is Martin from Retro Restore. He's got a channel called Retro Hacks, and his subscriber list went right up. And it's the same thing. It's no dialogue, and they wheel in an old toy car and they restore it. There's loads. There's hundreds of people doing that, and I've always thought, well, I wanted to do something a bit more involved, and it just interests me to drive the thing I've restored, I suppose. I love XC wagons, and I found I can put a land out front. Okay, with the pop-up headlights. That'd be hard to get that stuff. It's something I'd like to work on, but I hear some people are really frown upon doing cars. You know what? I don't agree, and I'll tell you why I don't agree. You do what you want to do. The things that I frown on when people cut them up, like anyone can do a custom or a hot rod, but get a crap car to do it with. And people seem to go looking for survivors that have got books and all this sort of stuff, and they cut those up. That's offensive. If you have one and you want to put an LTD front on, it's a bolt-on thing. And enjoy it. And if you get sick of it, unbolt it and put it back to how it was. Doesn't matter. You're not cutting anything up. Do what you want to do. And even if you were cutting it up, who cares? Junkyard Digs or Thunderhead 289. I assume the channel names. I don't know. You can't get any better than Jason Hill in his garage. Yeah, I like Jason. He's a good friend of mine. He's a very, very good friend of mine. He, I recommended him the first one. Then he pulled the engine out with a bulldozer, and it was swaying around. And someone said, "Pete, I can't watch this." And he thought it was too rough. But when you're pulling the thing apart, it can be rough. I don't think it matters. I think he does a great job. I don't know with Jason. Jason has a habit of disappearing. He just goes, and then he comes back, and he'll do 10 videos. The last video I saw, he was doing service work and reconditioning work on a bulldozer, like front end tractor thing. But I haven't spoken to him recently. Jason's doing another update on his car, on his XF to XE. HQ Holdings, yeah. They made 485,000. There's not many of those left. Yeah, so I don't know about Jason. Project Pink out of the UK is worth watching when they post. The Trev's blog also teaches panel beating tips. That's one I should watch too. Project Binky, though, they go nuts with things like brackets. They make these incredibly complicated pieces, and it's all done. It's brilliant fabricated. The two guys are engineers, and so they can do that stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're very, very clued up fellas. It's a great series, yeah. They're very clever. I can't do what they do. The good channel is Junker Up. The guy is out of Las Vegas and heaps of mopars and chargers, does drivetrain, heavy sheet metal work, fabrication, drives his cars hard and on road trips. Yeah, these ones I've heard of these. I've got to start looking. Bot Kill, you can speak Indonesia, whatever that is. I only think of you yesterday, saw a white XC sedan for sale here in Drysdale, Victoria. Bit rough, but it's there. Hello, I'm Japanese. Hello, how are you? Just wondering if you went to Box Hill TAFE because your power supply I see you using is the one I made when I went to Box Hill. Yes, I did electronics at Box Hill too, at the Nelson campus. I ended up doing a diploma in electronics with a specialist strand of computer field service, and that was a great subject. The only thing wrong with that power supply is it only goes to an amp, and it'd be good if it went to 5 amps. It's a bit light, but it's a great power supply for things like gauges and stuff. I use it all the time. And I went to Box Hill TAFE in 1990. Oh, I think 98 to 2000. I'm happy. Yes, that's good. So yeah, that was brilliant, and it taught me. I was naughty at school. I never concentrated, and of course, Box Hill TAFE was great because it taught me to study. Ends up when I left there, I went to La Trobe University. La Trobe University kept me busier, but Box Hill was harder because there was a lot of mathematics in there. Doing it, electronics, and I really had to work with mathematics. It wasn't something that came naturally to me. I'm a writer. I can write essays. Like my degree was 4,500 word essays, and I think I did 6,000 word essays on paradigms of teaching and all that. And that was easy for me. Writing just doesn't worry me. I can write it down. But maths and science, I do have to work hard at. You've been giving me inspiration to do my hobby. Good. That's the idea of this. Have you seen Austin Colson? Amazing fabrication, very cool channel, hugely undersubscribed. How many subscribers has he got? The thing with subscribers, right, and I know this frustrates a few people, there's brilliant channels I know that have 20 and 30,000. One guy used to do okay videos, and he's got 45,000, but his content, I reckon, is really bad. Like, there's nothing particularly good about it. I'm not going to mention names. It strikes me you get a cat playing with a cat toy and you're going to get 100,000 subscribers. Do you know what I mean? The stuff we do here is very, it's very specialist in terms of it has a very narrow viewing public. A lot of people just aren't interested in watching someone weld a patch into a boot lid. He went, Oh, no, I'm thinking of Raymond. There was a Raymond there that hung around with a Renato and another guy. They used to call themselves the Three Musketeers, but it wasn't Raymond Taylor. What was his name? He's an English guy. Went to Box Hill TAFE in 98 and 99, but I didn't. If you did electronics, if you're making that thing, I would have crossed paths with you. My issue with school was not finding it challenging, so I just faffed about until I finally went to, yeah, I did the same thing. Jonathan W. is incredible. I don't know what he does. I think Jonathan W. is a Southern American, and he runs a tow truck thing. But he'll make an engine, and he'll make his own castings for it. He's quite a clever guy, a very, very clever guy, in fact. Far more clever than some of the guys that have got 10 times his subscribers. Like there's a guy that has 300,000 or something, and I don't think he's particularly good. But Jonathan W. is a very, very clever fella. Nice to meet you. Bye. See ya. The biggest headache when converting XF to XE is the XE heater controls. Yeah, well, the XE is linear heater control and the XF is rotational. How many hours a week do you spend in your garage? And do you have tips on how to convince my wife that I too can spend so much time or more time in the garage? My wife and I, she's a horse girl, but we haven't got a horse at the moment. We are complete opposites. She's not interested in cars. She is a big movie watcher and that sort of thing, and I get restless. Unless it's raining and it's cold, I won't come in. I'm always outside. I would have been diagnosed in the 70s as being ADHD. I'm hyper. So I have to keep moving. As far as time is concerned, on the holidays, I can spend, well, on the holidays, I look after my mother and the kids and all that sort of stuff. So I'll spend at least 2 hours a day on the holidays. After work in daylight savings, probably the same. This last couple of weeks, I haven't even really been out there much. I haven't done anything. It just depends on the mood, really. And I've been doing these banging of beauty things, getting a lot of that old stuff out the way and reloading into one chapter, if you know what I mean. And that's what's been taking my time up. So with your wife, the thing is, and there's been a lot of conjecture and newspaper articles, and people don't like this man cave idea, but you need it. You know what I mean? Like, it lets you face the world a bit better. You've got a hobby you can concentrate on. It lets steam off. Particularly in my case, my job's very stressful. Not so much from the children I teach. I can count on one hand how many kids I've had trouble with in 17 years. But the constantly changing workload and expectations, I find, just does my head in. And so when I feel like that, I'll pick up spanners. And when I was a mechanic, I hated doing it at home. I hated picking up spanners at home, but now I don't do that for a job anymore. It's quite a pleasure because it's low stress. And that's why I don't do anything that people want me to do. I do what I want to do so that it does stay stress-free. But everyone needs a release. And if your release is in a garage, tinkering with a car, then I think she should accommodate that. We had an agreement. I never tell Susie what to do, and she doesn't tell me what to do. I don't like being told what to do. And so if she wanted a horse, she'll go and get a horse. I don't care at all. If she wants to spend all weekend on a horse with one of the kids, that's cool too. I'm good with that. In fact, I used to drive the car and the horse float around, which I found boring, but that was important for her. So it has to be 50-50. She gets what she wants, you get what you want, and then it's fair. But if it's just you in the garage with a car and your mates, and then she's stuck inside and she's got nothing to do, that's not fair. You know what I mean? Where was I up to? Oh, so you went into Boxer 2001 and 2 doing IT in previous life. Nelson Campus was great. Nelson Campus was great. You are dead right. I had a ball. Very smart man. Jonathan W. Yes, he is. Pete Wood. This is old Tony and AVE out of Canada. AVE is funny. Keep your dick in advice. That's his sign up. Mine's take good care, enjoy your classic, and I'll see you around. I've got to keep mine clear. If I say at the end of it, keep your dick in advice, I'll have every parent and kid at school complaining I'll get into more trouble. Because I have been in trouble for bad language and that sort of thing. Like to have a chat with you outside regarding our channels. Do you have a Facebook? I do have Facebook, you're Peter Anderson, but I rarely use it. But if I remember, I'll get on there and I'll give you some details. You can also get Susie and Peter Anderson at gmail.com. Susie as in S-U-Z-I-E and Peter Anderson, all being lowercase one word. I like the amateur style channels far more than the professional workshop ones. Keeps reminding us normal everyday guys to work on cars as well, and achieve something realistic. A lot of the professional ones are cut up that bad. And I remember, who was it? Was it Musty One? Somebody was offered a gig in a show and they own you for that. And they decide what goes in and what doesn't go in, regardless of whether it's an important step. It's all about the visual aspect of it, and they're getting what they want, if you know what I mean. It's not up to you anymore. So I find the professional ones, if you think of things like wheeler dealers, they'll spend time reconditioning a wheel, which to me is a big deal. I couldn't care less about that. I can recondition a wheel and not even think about it. But these guys were going into that sort of detail because that's a visual thing, which is good for a generic audience, if you know what I mean. Professional channels, I used to watch a bit of Kindig. I find that annoying too, because the foreman just mucks around and they try and make it funny, and I just want to shoot the guy, you know what I mean? It's like, shut up and just get back to the car. They've got some good workers on. He does good work at Kindig. 1,500 subs, I don't know what that means. Where was I up to? Oh, here we go. Yeah, watching your last Jet Sigma video and your wife's reaction to the car was priceless. She was like that when I got a Wolseley too. I got a pre-war Wolseley and she goes, I thought you said you were buying a car. But Susie's good. She's good like that. She's not, and I haven't, and I've been bad with this stuff. I've just rolled up with cars and she hasn't said anything. Now she's starting to get sick of it, but let's face it, I don't blame her. There's no room here. But having said that, I've clagged up the driveway in the garage. She's clagged up every bloody cupboard and room in the house. The study's my only room, really. Recently discovered you love your videos. Do you have a Christine update yet? No, or update please, not yet. I've got to do the body mounts. So this summer I'll have one, and then the car should or hopefully get taken away to Jason's workshop, and then the interior fitted out, and that's when I'll have updates for that car. I've got to find some money for that. Hubnut, I'm hot and cold with. Yes, it is important. It's very, very important for mental health, and I know all about that. My missus told me as long as I keep her car running, she doesn't care how many hours I'm out messing around in the shed. At least she always knows where I am. Yeah, that's the same. I've had that sort of reaction too. Basically, I'm not out at the pub. I'm not with another woman. I couldn't be bothered with that. I'd sooner just be, you know, having fun doing whatever. Yeah, so what was his name? Hubnut. I find some of his stuff good and some of it, his channel's grown heaps. I don't know how many subscribers he's got now, but he's got a hell of a lot more than me. He's done very, very well, Hubnut. Some of his work's not really to my taste, but, you know, not everyone can be the same. Keep up the great work. Love the in-depth content. Thanks very much. Good to see you got Aussie YouTubers, especially in the automotive genre. I'll shoot you an email. No worries, mate. Big Clive's great. Big Clive is great. I love Big Clive. Big Clive will get on eBay and always buys things out of China, like cheap electronics, and he diagnoses them or pulls them apart. He reverse engineers them, he calls it, does a circuit diagram, shows you how it all works and everything like that. Big Clive, and he seems like a lovely, lovely man. Like there's nothing conceited or funny about him. I think he spends a lot of time looking after his mother as well. Sell something, man. What do I sell? I don't know. You put 1,000 hours into something you don't want to sell. But you're right, I should be. I remember during breaks in class in Melbourne's Gunner Box Hill Central and hanging out there. Now it's full of those yellow food delivery bikes. I haven't been there for years. So that's sort of what we're up to now. Not much else to really speak about. What have I been on now? 45 minutes. In the last couple of videos I watched you mentioned how you weren't happy with some of the, the rechrome thing. Oh, the bike wheel. Tips on finding good rechromers. I'm going now through the guys that the Healy factory use, because my brother works there, and I can't remember what they're called, but I will use them and then upload in a video, talk about who they are. The chromer I used is a great guy, or great at what he does, but it's all about money with him, and he keeps talking about it and how he's done you a favour for doing it for only this much, and it's a conversation I don't want. It's like, tell me how much it is and I'll pay the money, and thanks very much. I don't want to sit there and feel guilty about how little he charged, which he didn't charge little at all. He always charged quite a lot. Whoa, Lindsay, $50. Oh, thank you so much. That'll come in useful. Gee whiz, that's so generous. Thanks very much, Lindsay. Where are we up to? Bush Mechanics. Now, Bush Mechanics is on a DVD, and I've got that here. And a guy at work gave it to me for my 40th, and I haven't watched it yet. That's 13 years ago. I'm 53. I just turned 53 last Saturday. Yeah, the recrowner. Yeah, I've talked about that. All right, then. Hi, I have great respect for you and your content. Keep it up. Thank you very much indeed. Vegemite Toast. It's a good name. How do you find your projects? By accident. The XC was supposed to be an XA. I had a big block 390 engine here that I re-ringed and cleaned up, and I thought that would be great as a mock-up police interceptor, which they never came like that. They came with 351s as the biggest engine. But XAs have an old school look, and the big block FE has a sound that no other engine's got. They're great, and they look old school, and I thought that'd be perfect. And XAs are like very difficult to find a good one. Same with XBs and Cs, and then the GXL, that XC came up. And then when I got that, I thought, yeah, I'll do that instead, knowing at the time I couldn't use the big block because in the XCs you had your first of your exhaust gas recirculation. You had all this stuff that you had to include to make it legal, and it was too much of a shit fight. So doing the 351 was much easier on that, and just doing it like factory, and that way you get through roadweather. You don't need an engineer. I find them, I just see them and I think, oh, I want one of those. Like, I never plan them. I just see them and grab them if I can. The F1 was a bit boring. Okay. The F1 was a bit boring, Peter. Do you know a normal aspirated barrier can be fitted out to take a turbo boost, U-valves, big pistons or more? I assume so. I don't know much about those. They you can heavily modify a barra and you can get 1,000 horsepower out of the things. Easy. It's incredible. They've hidden this message because they think it's rude. I read it to you. Can you do a video on prepping your nuts and bolts for dipping? All right. Jason Hill will Y-wheel every single nut and every single bolt, and I don't. Now, the plater I used was great. It was Warner's Metro in Bayswater. I think they've folded up now. I don't know. I heard the owner found he was going to earn more money turning the place into a car park than he was doing plating. That being said, I would throw, unless they were dripping in grease, I would just throw them all in a box and take them down there. And the hydrochloric acid baths clean them anyway. Now, the other plater I used from down that way a while ago, who I wasn't happy with, he was a hell of a nice guy, but I didn't like his work. He insisted that everything was hydroblasted, and that's how I found my hydroblasting, which was kind of a blessing in disguise. I don't do any prep. I just take them down. If they're rusted, don't bother, because when you get them back, they're pitted and they're dull and they just don't look right. If they're covered in oil, you're going to get back brand new looking stuff because they're well protected. There's no corrosion on them. I don't do any prep with that. If they're really greasy, I'll put them in a jar with old thinners, swill them around, pull them out with a magnet and wire them up. That's all I do. Happy belated birthday. Thanks, Rach. Thank you. Yeah, 53. I'm getting old. My feet are sore. Thanks very much, Lindsay. It was a good birthday. I always wake up, years ago when the kids were little, they used to gather around me and sing happy birthday or happy Father's Day. And I'd wake up to it, and they still do it, and I love it. My eldest daughter, works at a food place in Eastland, and she quite often isn't there. She works sort of casually, and she works on all those sort of Saturdays and Sundays, and and so I don't see her as much as I used to. But they still gather around me and sing to me, and that's how I wake up. It's a beautiful way to wake up. It really is. Bush Mechanics, they made brake pads out of bits of boomerang, if I remember. Yeah, it was one of those. And they were taking a gearbox out of a V8 Commodore, I think, and they prepped it up with a big stick to hold it on an angle and used the fuel pump manually in the car and that sort of thing. I think that's the one. Pick a new planet. Oh, this is a good one. Jason's getting himself a 1969 HT Kingswood. That's a good one. That's a really good one. The Barrett's just an Aussie's been on the 2JZ. Yeah, Jason, what is your channel name? Okay, this will be a kid from school. Hello, I'm a toaster. I'm a toaster. Yeah, that's good. So, love the old cars, yes, thanks very much. I am at a stage now, though, where I really don't know what to do. We've thought about moving so that the kids can have, or Rosie wants a horse. So I really thought about moving. And property around here is a good price. But the problem is we all work within about a K of the house, a kilometre. Like my school is very close. The kids, Charlie's a hairdresser and his hairdresser's probably 1.5 kilometres away. Alana's only in Eastland down the road. And Rosie's been doing some work down there too. So, and Susie works in Eastland. So everyone works on top of this house, like within 2 kilometres of this house. And you never see that in a job. And I've worked miles away from where I live. But everyone here is in a brilliant position and no one really wants to give it up. So the moment you move away, and there's every trade around here, look just down the road in Bayswater, there's people everywhere that relate directly to what I do in my spare time. So finding that is very rare. And to move out to somewhere with some land, enough to put a horse on and a bigger shed, because I do want a bigger shed. I've got too many cars outside and this sort of stuff, and I don't like it. But we do have to make that decision. And I've thought about going part-time at work, but if I do that, of course, I won't have any money to do what I want to do anyway. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. What do I think is better, the Windsor or Clevo? The Clevo is supposed to be better breathing. These days, though, you're probably better with a Windsor because there's a lot of aftermarket support for them, even dart blocks and stuff like that. And you can get them. There's a guy at Speedworks in Ringwood, the guy that I use for all my machine work and my engines, 900 horsepower Windsor, and it's normally aspirated. Don't know how he did it, but he did it. But there's a lot of aftermarket because they made Windsors right up to, 1996 or 98 or something in the United States before they started doing the modular engine. So there's a lot of aftermarket support for Windsors. But as an engine to look at, the Cleveland's the best looking. I put a Windsor in the XW because it was period correct. I just enjoyed it. One word. Thanks for the shout out. You're most welcome. Yeah. So I've just got to think. We're at a catch-22 in terms of location where there's parking restrictions out the front of the house. You park there and they charge $160 in a fine. It's BS. It really is. There are so many disadvantages with living where I do because of congestion with traffic and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just so convenient, and we've really got to think about what we're doing. What do you think of the old 1973 Series 3 Land Rover with the 2.25 petrol engine? I'm currently having a go at restoring. Don't know much about them. I worked at Wild Motors and used to do the 110 Land Rover and the Range Rovers mainly, but I don't know about the old ones. I don't know enough about them. Yeah. So, yeah, that's about it. So, on that note, I think we'll go to an hour. We're at 55 minutes, and then I might bid thee farewell. There's a few things I need to do. So, channel-wise, yeah, I think we'll just maintain the trajectory we're on now. We've finished a few projects this year, which has been good. I'm still aiming to finish the 350 Honda, the 750 Honda, and the XC. The XC probably won't get finished because it's another $4,000 or so, and I don't think I'll be able to afford it given the amount of tax I'm paying, which is fine. There's a few messages. I'll get to those in a moment. So we'll aim at doing that, but I doubt I'll finish that. And of course, if I do pick up another bike frame, there's a guy, Baz, I think his name is, that messaged me to say that he has another 350 frame and I wanted to modify one and just do a kind of shits and giggles bike, if you know what I mean, which wasn't a restoration because I normally restore stuff, and now I just want to do something where I don't have to because I'm sick of sourcing parts that people ask $1 million for. I just wouldn't want some junk to play around with, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so he's gone away and he gets back in about a month or something, so I'll see if I can contact him and find something, but that would be next year, early next year, in the summer or something like that. Getting a place with land is expensive. It is. But me, same in Montana South. We're within walking distance, not but my work is 20-minute bus ride from York, so it's a packet on petrol. It does. Did I know that someone slotted a 289 to a Farina-style car once? That would be fast. Windsor 289s and 302s, when you see a bare block, they're only about that big from the rail, the sump rail to the deck, and they're very light. They're very, very light. 289 302s are incredible, and you can stroke them to 347. They stick them in MGBs, and because the standard engine for MGBs in a V8 is a 3.5 litre Rover, and a 302 Windsor will just run rings around those things. I mean, you can get so much power out of a 302 Windsor. My brother has one. He stroked it to 347. It's got AFR racing heads on it. It's got the manifold carby, 750 or whatever it is, 680 CFM I think it is, and headers. And on an engine dyno, it got 445 horsepower, and it's not even sorted out. It makes ridiculous power, and it's all down to the heads in the cam. You can get stupid power out of those things, and a lot cheaper than you can when you're starting to look at things like 3.5 and 4.4 litre Rovers. They're a good engine, but the 302 is just a freak. Pete, what do I do for Christ? I'm a secondary school teacher. Good luck with the projects I'll be watching. Good, thanks, Lindsay. What's the best way to put a 4-cylinder bike cylinder back on? Engine back in, maybe. The 750, I lay the engine on the ground and put the frame around it. The 350, you can just leave the sump off and lift the thing in. It's easy. I'd like to do a Cert 3 in automated services, just having completed Cert 2 in TAFE, South Australia, in the last 6 months. Finding a placement in regional SA, South Australia, is near impossible. For someone in their 30s, yeah, it doesn't sound easy. Cert 3 is a trade. That's your apprenticeship. Ray Wistover has a Sigma. I haven't used it. Sigma's at mum's. She crashed her Polo and she stopped driving, so the Sigma's parked in her driveway. or in a garage, and I've got the Polo here, and that was supposed to be written off, but it looks pretty good. So I just thought, you know what, I'll fix it up and maybe leave the little Starley around there because it's a two-door and it's high off the ground, so she can get in and out. She can put a chair in the back and I can drive her around. And I was thinking of leaving that there and just driving the Polo around. 4.4 P76 in a Stag was the stupid I've seen. The problem with the Stag engine, the Triumph Stag had two Triumph Dolomite 1.5 engines glued together, basically, or cast together. 3 litre, and they use, they're bloody awful things. They use studs instead of bolts, and the studs go through the water jackets. And unless you are scrupulously good with your coolant maintenance, they rust on. And we had one at White Horse Motors, and a guy couldn't get the cylinder head off, and he could only lift it about 5 millimeters. So I got a hacksaw blade to cut the studs out. Ended up cutting into the deck, and we had to get a new engine for it. And the 3, a lot of people put the Rover engines in, but devalues the Stags. Stags look and sound great, but working on them is horrible. Hello, Ian. How are you? The TAFE I go to is putting an LS in an XL. Is that a Hyundai XL? Bugger. I'm a diesel mechanic. I advise not to do mechanics as a trade. A lot better paying options out there, mate. I agree. And the reason for that is if you do plumbing or electrical, it's protected and you're looked after with your pay because you're registered. Mechanics aren't. It's a hard job. It's a really hard job. You've got to be a good diagnostician. Diesel mechanics do it really hard. Diesel mechanics are paid better than regular automotive mechanics, but yeah, the pay's not good. I think a good, the top pay I know about is about 65 grand. And that's a guy who was at Penfolds that was getting that. And there are trades, like, just pay so much better. I don't know what you mean. I know what I think of huge truck exhausts on small cars, but I like them. I don't know how the big grill. Can anyone answer Lucy about the big grill trend? I'm not really sure what she means. At least if I've seen one, I haven't noticed it. Oh, Michael. My God. Gee whiz. That's very generous. Thank you very much, Michael. And I know what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to finish off some projects. Thank you very much. It looks like I'm going to be staying a bit longer. I can't hang up now, can I? Oh, I think I know what you mean. Yeah, not my taste. It's not really my taste, do you know what I mean? Like, I like subdued lines, and when you get cars that have huge, massive focal points on them, I think it takes away from the rest of the car's design. I don't think it's great design doing that. Michael, couldn't have, well, you don't have to send $50, mate. $38.99 is awesome. I did wonder about the 99 though. Pardon me. But thank you all the same. That's wonderful. That's a really generous thing. It does. And some cars, if you look at cars that have really great lines, like you look at something like an LJ Tirana, and whether you like or hate the look of an LJ Tirana, from the back I don't think they look particularly good. But if you look at one from the side, from your C-pull, you have this beautiful sweeping line that comes up and then goes over. From the top of the bonnet or the guards, it sort of comes into the doors and then flicks up around into the C-pillar. It's one of the nicest lines. It's beautiful. But then when you get, and that's why I don't think, you look at things like new Corollas, it might as well be a Power Ranger. There's corners on them. I just think they're ghastly looking things. Could you recommend any windscreen replacement services in eastern suburbs of Melbourne? Who did mine? That was National that did mine. We used to use Novus and Nissan when I was there. They were good. They're all pretty good. I'd stay away from things like Windscreens O'Brien, not because they're bad. They just seem to be a lot dearer. It depends on the car too. But I was very happy with the Mobbers did mine, and that was National. And there's a guy called Jeff that does old cars. He's brilliant. I'm not a fan of big wheels. No, me either. If it was not for the diesel mechanics, the buses would not get me to work. They deserve their money. Diesel mechanics do it hard. Which car are you talking about? I don't know. Which car was I talking about? LJ Tirana. I was talking about the LJ Tirana, so and LC, so 1969 to about 1974, late 73, early 74. Pardon me. That's what I cut out of videos too when I cough. From your observations, would you say old school cars for 60s, 80s are making a bigger comeback these days with the younger generation? They seem to be more. They seem to be more aware of them. But in saying that, 60s to 80s cars, 60s, 70s cars are becoming unaffordable for a lot of people, and so a lot of 80s stuff is coming into vogue. I went to the United States in the late 80s and I looked around and I thought, these guys are the best at designing cars and I can't see a single nice one. In the United States in the 80s, there was a lot of really, really square lines, particularly when you get to the back window, they'd just sort of be cut off and the boot would just drop down to nothing, particularly on things like Cadillacs and stuff like that. In saying that, though, there seems to be a following of those cars now. So it's whatever's sort of available. 80s stuff is getting more and more desirable. XF Falcons were everywhere and they were free, but now a good XF Falcon is expensive. And, even a little Sigma 80, people are starting to ask money for those. It just depends what's around. The higher or the further up you get, though, like in the 80s, a lot of cars were really nice to drive, much, much nicer to drive than 60s and 70s cars. They're just balanced with better geometry. They're just better. If you look at 90s cars, early 90s cars, most of them are flawless things to drive. They're still lovely and they're very good. There's nothing at all wrong with them. Enjoy your dinner, Andrew. Hello, Miss Goldfinger. We're always windscreen cheap and old school fellas. I don't know them. See, Elliot. Pete, have you had any mirrors resilvered before? I need my rear view one done for the Telstar. Kit from the US is just not cost effective. The only thing I can think of, and I don't know where you live, Rachel. Are you in? No, you're in. Where are you, Queensland, aren't you? We have a joint here called Stevens Glass, and they don't resilver them. They actually put a new piece in. Yeah, they actually replace their actual glass, and I always get them to, and they can do it in 2mm, 3mm, 4mm, whatever. And the XW's glass was knackered, and I ended up just getting a new mirror for it and putting it in. If you do that, don't ever use normal Celastic. The acetic cure stuff, it smells like vinegar because it eats into that coating in the back. You've got to use neutral cure silicon. But that's who I use, Stevens Glass. And if you Google them, I don't know if they've got branches up in Queensland, but there'll be an equivalent that does that sort of thing, I think. But if you run into Stripe, I'll look for you and I'll find out. I'll bend over backwards for you because you've always been really good to me. Frank Banner. Frank Banner is Division 4. Are you talking about Division 4, the old police show from the 70s? Frank Banner was Gerard. What's his freaking name? Gerard. Someone Gerard. I can't remember his name. Volvo 164E. That is worth nothing despite its rarity. Okay, the 160 Volvos had a 3-litre 6. They were Bosch Digitronic, and in a manual they fly. That's hard to get a manual one, but they go really well as manuals. Hi Pete, have an XWZC, including a GT HO workshop manual in mint condition. It's original Ford. I've seen poor ones go for a few hundred on eBay. If you can have it. Hell yeah, that's very generous. I'd love to have that. Wow. Oh, gee, that's very generous. Thank you very much. Oh gosh, geez, I'm doing well out of this, aren't I? Lindsay Hall, thanks very much. So, $20. This is amazing. I didn't expect this. All right. My email is Susie and Peter Anderson, SUZIE and Peter Anderson, all one word, all lowercase, @gmail.com, and I'll give you my address. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Wow. I wanted one of those. Jason's got one of those, and I thought, where the hell can I get one of these things from? The new high aces are so ugly at the front. The people move version of that was announced here the other day, and badges are Granvia, $62,990 for the basic Toyota. That's a lot of money, isn't it? 90s cars are pretty decent. I have a sweet little daily 96 Celica. They're bloody great, 90s cars. 346,000 has Mr. Beat. Aircon is still ice cold. I had a U13 Bluebird. Looked like a bar of soap. Really slippery sort of shape. It was a KA24. It was an auto and it was a TI. It had a sunroof. One of the nicest cars I've had. It was beautiful. And when I've looked for those periodically, because the Triple S version had a heads-up display in it as well, and the manuals went really well. Now those things come up for sale every now and then. They're not expensive, but they've all done 400,000 Ks. I mean, they are just such bloody good cars. This is an interior mirror. On the interior mirrors, there's a lip that goes around the glass. Can we get a little spudger thing around that to flick the glass out? Or are they bonded around the glass? I can't remember. Yours is an AS Telstar, is it? It's not an AR, is it? I think it's an AS. I just can't remember. Gerard Kennedy, that's the guy's name. Gerard, I used to love Frank Banner when I was a kid. And I remember the music. Let me know, Rachel. Actually, I'm going to have a look for you. I will have a look for you. If I can find one, I'll send it to you too. Send me an email at suzypeter@gmail.com to remind me. And I know a guy that might be able to get one. If I can get a good one, I'll just post it up to you. And don't worry about it because you're being wonderful. When are you going to organise a car meet? I was thinking of that. I thought about if we got a property with a big shed, I'd do a great big sausage sizzle and just say everyone just come around and I'll answer any questions, or we can do little workshops and crap like that, but I haven't any room to do it. Thanks, mate. If you find anything, it would be much appreciated. I'll find something. There's a guy I know, and he'll probably just sling it to me. I've just got to check, but tell me what it is. Is it an AR or an AS Telstar? I think it's an AS from what you said before, but I could be wrong. Just let me know, Rachel. And if there's a different coloured interior, I think they're all sort of like a sandstone colour, those interiors, aren't they? They're a funny pale grey. Hello, Mick Malloy. How are you? I've got I know. How good are the subscribers? I haven't got that many of them. My channel's got 19,000 subscribers, and they are so lovely to me. And the other thing I've noticed is I've gone a month, really, without any really meaningful content, and they're still there. And I feel awful, but there's just the most lovely people. They've been really supportive of me, and I am a bit of a dickhead, you know. I'm not an interesting person. Mick Malloy, I did a couple of times off you on the original. Did you really? I don't remember seeing that. I don't remember seeing it. I think someone's just taken money off. I don't know how that works. I don't remember seeing it. I'm sorry. G'day, mate. Your vids time warp me. I've owned many things you rebuild. I know, so have I. I keep going back, so maybe a midlife crisis. I have the glass hat. It's an AT. Right, good. Now I know what it is. I don't think there's any difference between 4-door and TX5 on those. I think they're all the same. And the other thing, I've got a hunch they're the same as the Mazda 626 as well, because they were the same car. I'll find out, and I'm going to let you know, and I am going to find out about that. Which one of the ABC do you prefer, and why over the other two? XA, it's the original one. I like the shape of it better. And, pardon me, there's more scope to modify them as well, because there's no pollution equipment on them. Having said that, the XC is the nicest to point it, like the Fairmont GXL. The only XBs I do like XBs. I mean, I do like them. But the GT, we had a GT when I was young, and it was a top-loaded car, and it was a sunroof car as well. It's beautiful. But I like, if I had a choice of all three, an XA. Hang on. Okay. N13 pulses are great in their day, 1.8. The only thing with N13 pulses, there's a bunch of things like they're on the 1.8 litre. That's a family 5 engine, and the breather, there's a piece of rubber tube from the rock cover about that long, and they always block. Easy to do, but you just don't want them to block. And they had 2 earths on the cylinder heads you've got to keep an eye on. Normally they're all right. And the springs on the gear shift underneath the exhaust heat shield, underneath the car, there's 2 little springs to keep the gear shift central, and they always break. There's little things like that go wrong with them. But if you keep them in good nick, they're bloody great cars. They're great cars. I love them. Hey, Pete, what was your first car? Mine was a WP pedal van with rebuilt 202. My first car I bought for my brother was an HZ308 Premier, but I was 17 and sold it back to him. And it was rare. It was Madeira red with a chamois interior. It was a 5 litre, had power steering, had honeycomb wheels, and the really rare thing is it had 4-wheel disc brakes, which was unusual on those. And I gave it back to him and got his MG, which was in bits. That was a dumb thing to do. But even so, I would have sold the car by now anyway. So, I'll email you. Maybe we could combine and organise a car meet if I get time. I struggle. I struggle with time because I'm busy at work and I'm busy with my family, and I steal time to get out in the garage to do stuff. But if I can, I certainly will. Let's say you're doing house renos. I do them all the time. I'm always doing something to the house, but I don't film it because it's like, how do you film it and keep car people interested? I mean, car people do live in houses, but what do you do? Okay, what do we got? I'm at 168 subs. Don't complain about 19,000 odd. Yeah, look, the only thing I get frustrated with is I've seen people doing dumb things on dumb channels and got 200,000 subscribers. And you just think, what? And their work is. I'm not critical of other people's work, but I'm critical of people giving advice when they don't know what they're talking about. And that's what I don't like. If they're good at what they're doing, or if they're saying, I'm not much good at this, but I'm trying, well, that's cool. But when they're saying, you've got to do it like this, and they don't know what they're on about, I find that a bit frustrating. Car meet would be fun. I've still got an N14. Oh, they're great. When I was at Nissan, they went from the locally made ones from Clayton, I think they made them, to the imported ones. So you had your Pulsar GLIs, which were the local ones, and you could get the SR20 in the Pulsar Q or the TI. The Japanese ones came out in the form of a Pulsar LX, and that was only a 1600. And the Pulsar Q was only a 1600. This is in the N14, and the only one you could get the SR20 in was the TI. The SR20 in those N14s was great. I love them. They're great cars. If you're thinking of doing a car meet, please wait a few months. I'll get my car on the road. Yeah, if we can wait a few months, I'll get mine on the road too. The XO was the nicest shape, yeah. Oh, that's all right, Rachel. Anytime, yes. I got a text message. Was that you, Rachel? I don't think I gave you my number. I get text messages. I got one before from a guy, and it was really funny because I can't talk about it. And I will talk about it soon. That's my sister. My mum. All right. Oh, shit. My mother. Okay. What am I doing? Where was I up to? The first car was an HG. Very good car. Put a house renos on the channel. I probably could. My first car was an EA Falcon. I remember that. Brand new. Which I drifted into a tree. My second car was an EB, which I drifted into the same damn tree. You know, take a different ride on the way home, or a different route. The N13 we had never had any of those issues. Probably did not get old enough. It was traded 4 years. Oh, yeah, 4 years old. Only problem was the ECU. They had a thing called a memcal in them that used to. And also, I think the windscreen used to leak onto those. I'm not sure. Yeah, TIs are great. George is enjoying my watch out for that tree. Does your Tesla have the same motor as my MX-6 Turbo? Probably, I don't know if they do. The MX-6 and the AT Tesla was a 12-valve 2.2 litre turbo. They're a bloody good engine. They used to torque steer into oncoming traffic if you weren't hanging on. But the other Telstars, I think, were 2 litre, weren't they? You'd have to ask her. What have we got? What do you know about the 05 Ford Couriers? They're quite big with young people there. Okay, no, I didn't know that. I have a banger 2001 N16 with a 1600 Jap motor, 403,000, still running great. They are. The only thing with the the post N13, so you ran 14 pulses with the first with the 7.5 weight missing oil. A lot of people put 10 weight in, which you can kind of do, but those thin lubricants do have a tendency to be at the end of their serviceable life quicker than some of those heavy old mineral oils. And so as long as you keep your oil changes up on them every 10,000 or 5,000, whatever, then they're not an issue at all. What have we got? Yeah. So, yeah, it's really interesting seeing what people have got. And the fact that people are talking about cars like N14 Pulsars and stuff like that, they're very familiar to me. I got my mum to buy one. Sigma's going well. As I said, it's just sitting in my mother's garage. I've got to get it out. The power steering reservoir was low, but there's no leak there, so it must have just had airlocks or something in it. But Rachel should turbocharge, which makes things interesting. They're really, really good. I wouldn't mind one. MX-6 Turbo, there was one of them here. I was following an old lady in it. It was mint, and it was like an 89 model, 2.2 litre turbo. The TX5 Turbo had a lot of, it was quite a loud car in terms of visually loud. You could pick them a mile away. Whereas the MX-6 was really understated. There was just a turbo sticker in white about that long underneath one of the taillights. I don't know about, I haven't got a trained dog with them, but that's all I noticed about them. They're really, really, they're such underrated cars. They're bloody great things. Mighty Car Mods, yes, we were talking about Mighty Car Mods. They are great. I used to love, I don't watch them now so much. I'm not into so much. But when it was the two of them at the beginning in Marty's mum's garage, I thought it was great. I thought they were brilliant. Gee whiz, I'm getting tired. What time is it? 7:30. That's not too bad. Been an hour and 20 minutes. So there's all sorts of cars I like. I'd like to get another Mercedes-Benz. I'd like to get another LJ Tirana. I like the U13s and the N14s. My first car was a Morris 1100, but I'm a bit old. I'm feeling old too. There are so many cars I like. And it is disgusting when those cars destroy, when those shows destroy cars. I was watching, one of the kids had Charlie's Angels on. And Charlie's Angels, I'm talking about the Farrah Ford Kate Jackson one from the 70s. And they're at a smash-up derby, and they're smashing up 57 Chevs. And you watch it, just you can't believe it. In the 70s, they were throwaway cars. Now they're real classics. So I'm watching this stuff when they're, particularly Farina Wolseley's, they're a really popular banging car because of the strength of them. Apparently, I was told about that. But yeah, people do, they just destroy.